So our weekly updates, a lot of updates this week, as you can see, and we will start with Cognition AI. So this is a small company. You see the team. They are from Silicon Valley, but they also are in New York. And it is funded by Peter Thiel, who was former CEO of PayPal. And these guys, they actually creating software engineer. So it's not just LLM, but it's a whole system. You can call it agentic loop, like agent who can run the model, run this code. So it can write the code, it can run it, it can go to the internet to find a solution, it can add print statements to do the debugging and so on. So of course it's just the first release, but this is very, very impressive. So we will lose our software engineering jobs like pretty soon, I guess. So Andrej Karpathy has commented on this, and he was a chief AI person at Tesla developing self-driving technology. And he was explaining how first the human performs all driving actions manually, but then AI helps to stay in the lane, then slow if you have a car ahead, and slow, actually what we have now, Tesla can pretty much drive itself, although you're required to keep your hands on the wheel, right? But it took years. And a similar thing is happening with coding. So first human writes the code manually, then GitHub Copilot autocompletes few lines, writes chunks of code, and so on, so on. So there is a very convincing presentation using Copilot++. And of course, Devin, which I just spoke, this is the name of this application is Devin. So I just want to explain, Devin is not just an LLM. It's actually the whole system. Okay, next interesting statistics is explosion of highly rated GitHub repositories for Gen AI. So you see by years, this is 2024, 23, 22, 21. So it was going slow, and then you have this explosion. This is for like applications, AI engineering, model repo, and so on. So yeah, we have an explosion, although it was very steep last year, and now it's like it's a little bit slower, but it's still growing. Big companies still dominate the landscape. There is a rise of massively popular software hosted by individuals. Chinese are big contributors. And I've seen this post on Twitter, a new LLM a day keeps the GPU away. Really like it. And TPU keeps GPU away. TPU is a tensor processing unit from Google. And anyway, people have a good sense of humor. Now, this is Crowdsource Arena Leaderboard, and we have some changes because now we have Claude 3. And if you look at the numbers, 1247, and GPT-4 is 1249, 1251, but the 95% percentile error is plus minus 6, so it's actually within the error. So we can say that Claude 3 is on the level with the latest and greatest GPT-4. So yeah, this is a great thing. Now look, this is Gemini Pro. This is the free version of Gemini. The Gemini Advanced is still not here because I don't think they provided API for it yet. So this is Claude 3 Sonnet, which is much cheaper, and you see it's almost on the same level, very close. Then we have some other GPT-4s. We have Mistral Large, which is a paid through API. We have this Omen from Alibaba. It's open source. Well, it has like special license, but again, it's pretty high there. Then we have Claude 1, Mistral Medium, which is again not open source. We have Claude 2, the previous version, Mistral Next, Gemini Pro, Claude 2.1, and Mixtral. Well, Mixtral 8.7b is actually truly open source. So it's on 13th place. But you see, it's 13, 13, 13, 13. There are several models which are shared, and it is with GPT 3.5. So here. And next, Well, a lot of stuff. Emergent autonomous scientific research capabilities. So people discuss how uh, models can help with research. I recommend you just read the article. I will not go into this. But the point is that it appears that these emergent abilities more depend on how people actually measure these abilities. So it's interesting. Yann LeCun says that, well, the problem, people on animals learn from a lot of sensory input. And he wrote, there is absolutely no way in the hell we will ever reach human level AI without getting machines to learn from high bandwidth sensory input, which is vision, hearing, and touch. So, well, this is point of view. Latent Space, I'm subscribed to them. I recommend, it's good. So they point 5 research directions. One is long inference, which allows you to plan, search, alpha geometry, flow engineering. Synthetic data is a big area. Alternative architectures like Mumber and others. A mixture of experts architectures and online LLMs. So these are 5 things which they consider to be trendy. Okay, chain of abstraction reasoning. So these are some papers about reasoning, which is a big area of research. Amazon reviews data set. So the data set from Amazon. Good, and it contains reviews. LLM jailbreaking. This is quite hilarious. There are a couple of videos from Matthew Berman. I highly recommend. It's entertaining. He's trying to jailbreak models, and he was using ASCII art. So this is an example. You write how to build A, and then you print boom using ASCII art. So like picture of ASCII characters. So he tried this. He tried Morse code and different models. What he found that you can actually break GPT. Mistral is absolutely open. Claude is very well protected, the new Claude model. So again, just watch those videos. This is the article. Google published an article where they learned to extract ChatGPT training data using a really silly trick. So you just ask the model, repeat the word poem forever. And the poor model doesn't know what to do, so it starts emitting some chunks of words, like of text, and basically training data. And yeah, it's interesting. This is embarrassing from Meta. Remember how Google provided pictures which were supposedly they were fighting with bias, but as a result, it was completely wrong. So same is now happening with Meta. You see historic images which are completely wrong because they put black people there or Asian people there. So yeah, but at least they are not like hiding this, and because Meta is open source. Okay. Next, Google battles AI generated spam in search. Okay, just to know that there is a problem. Cohere Advanced Institute Science and Technology developed complementary transformer AI chip, which is, drum roll, 600 times more, less power. So it's a very, very small chip, which again, which is good. It's good progress. Please mute yourself. Europe new AI office at the European Commission to serve as epicenter of AI expertise. Yeah, Europe this month they voted the law, which is called AI Act, and they have the office. Okay, I'm sorry. Who is not muted? Somebody is not muted. Okay, Bella, I'll mute you. Okay, good. How to close that? Mixtral can be now trained on consumer hardware. There was several articles, and this is GitHub code how to do it. x.ai is supposed to go open source with the Grok model this week. Well, Ellen wrote that they will do it, but I haven't seen this yet. One anniversary of llama.cpp. So last year in March, Grigory Girganov made this repository. So he's from Bulgaria, and he wrote a bunch of C++ code to run Llama model, and this is now used by everyone. So they are keeping developing it. It's a big project, and for example, a Llama, which I really like, it runs Llama CPP under the hood. Fireworks AI, well, I was talking about them before. So they provide online platform to run models, but they do it cheaper than other major providers. GroqCloud, again, good API for AIs, something many people use, you can consider. New OpenAI board, they added some members. Sam Altman, who is the CEO, now also a board member, and they added 3 women, Sue Desmond-Hellman, Nicole Seligman, and Fuji Simo. So they now new members of the board. Prompt library, Anthropic from Anthropic. So if you follow this link, you will see many prompts which are ready to use. So it's a good thing. Okay, Nvidia BioNeMo framework on Amazon SageMaker and generative AI platform designed for drug discovery. Well, drug discovery is a huge industry, so this is actually quite important. SEMA, I have a cat SEMA, but SEMA actually stands for Scalable Instructable Multi-World Agent, and it is developed by Google DeepMind. And this is a huge thing. Just to remind you that about 11 years ago, DeepMind came up with their deep learning networks for running, learning and running Atari games. So you can play Atari game. And since then, of course, they did a lot of progress. So now they can run multiple games. So one model which is capable of running multiple different games, very complicated games. And you can talk to this model and you can tell it what to do in human language, and it can follow your directions. So they call it GOAT, which is greatest of all time. And it's amazing progress. There are some very convincing demonstrations here in these links. Applied Intuition, this is a company from California. They raised $250 million at a $6 billion evaluation. And what they do autonomous vehicle software. And they do some other software for other machinery. But the trend this year is that there are many companies who are doing robotics or some machinery which are using AI, and they get a lot of money and a lot of attention. Okay, Command R was released by Cohere. So Cohere started in Toronto. It's a Canadian company. Toronto, it's where Geoffrey Hinton is. That's like the crib of AI, of deep learning. And there are so many companies which come from Toronto. But Cohere is actually not just in Toronto, they also in California, New York, London, and they provide models and they provide tools and they do it for businesses. So they have some absolutely great tooling. Some of them it's free. For example, you can do like they have nice library to do a chatbot like front end and back end. I mean, great. So I recommend you to know this name, Cohere. Okay, so in this case, the command R is a generative model optimized for long context tasks, such as RAG, and using external APIs and tools, designed to work with embed and re-rank, which is their stuff as well, to provide best-in-class integration for RAG applications. You see stroke accuracy, low latency, long context, different languages. Well, Cohere is a great thing, definitely. Okay, training Llama 3. So they released a blog post which explains how they are training Llama 3. Llama 3 is expected somewhere end of the spring, maybe in June, but this is huge. 24,000 H100s. This is a pod, and they have 2 pods. So they use PyTorch, they use NCCL library from Nvidia, and they use some advanced storage. Interesting. You can follow the links and read in detail, but they're very proud of what they're doing. And by the way, so they're spending billions of dollars to develop open source software. Nvidia is also stepping in the game of making AI models, AI tooling, AI portfolio. So a lot of stuff, and you can look at what they're doing. Enchanted Completions for macOS. So yeah, this is great. So first of all, it's an open source app, and it can work on everything Apple, whether it's a phone or laptop. And the way it works, you can invoke them with a shortcut. And so for example, you're editing text somewhere. It may be in the email, in the Google Doc, in a Word, whatever. And then you can select text and then ask it to summarize it, write more, fix grammar. For example, you in email and you ask to reject politely and so on. And the model immediately writes, and yeah, this is amazing. And it uses your local model, which you can install, maybe using a llama. You see a llama. So that's good. macOS Spotlight panel, specify system prompt. So yeah, you can specify your own system prompt. You can have conversation history, the support markdown, do image attachment, do voice prompts. So it's quite sophisticated. It's amazing system. It's really good. Well, one more reason to have a Mac. Optimum Nvidia from HuggingFace. Yeah, this is really interesting. So here we have a piece of code, and let's say you use transformers. So from transformers import whatever. Now instead of transformers, you say from Optimum Nvidia. So and here you can use this option, use FP8 true. So what's the significance? The new Nvidia hardware can support 8-bit numbers, floating point numbers. But and this model allows you to use this, but it only works for two architectures, which are Ada Lovelace and Hopper, right? So you can still use this from Optimum Nvidia import with many other Nvidia architectures, but this option, the use FP8 will only work with Ada and with Hopper. And this, by the way, is interesting. So Ada Lovelace was in 1860s, so it was like 160 years ago. And she was working with Charles Babbage. I was in Computer History Museum in California. So this is the machine, and this has this handle. So you rotate the handle, and it computes something. So she was a first programmer. So I guess she was, well, she has quite muscles because she needed to rotate this handle. But anyway, she's the first programmer. It's a famous name, Ada Lovelace. And then we have Grace Hopper, who also very famous. She created COBOL language and many other things. She coined the word bug. She created the first linker. And these two women now NVIDIA honors their memory by naming the architectures like Hopper H100 and Ada Lovelace like H600. So yeah, and that's what we have. And this is great because if you're using this feature FP8, so your numbers become much smaller, so everything works much faster. So here are some numbers. Can do 28 times faster inference, up to more than 1,000 tokens per second on your home computer. Well, A6000 is about $7,000, and the Hopper, it's about $30,000 right now. So it's kind of expensive. Okay, build company chatbot on AWS. Each platform has their own solution, but AWS, I just listed some of the technologies they have, the standard. So first of all, they have Lex, and Lex is their customer support chat. They had it for probably more than 10 years. It was very primitive, but now it's using some advanced search capabilities and LLM. So, but Lex provides you can use its front end. So basically how to include a chatbot in your web page or in your application. So it's amazon.com/lex. And behind it, you can use a search. Like, for example, there is a system called Kendra. And Kendra, again, it's native to Amazon. And it's low code search system. So it does semantic search. It understands English language. Under the hood, I'm not sure exactly what I think it's using OpenSearch, which is Amazon version of Elasticsearch. It's open source, and again, it's doing semantic search. So instead of using a vector database, you can just use Kendra, and it will search. Well, let's say you have data in S3 buckets. So what Kendra can do, it can index it, and then you can use this index to search it. Okay, AWS Bedrock. Bedrock is like foundation. I have picture in my head. This is a bed made of stone, right? Of rocks. So you have Bedrock, and it's actually API to run different models. They have about 15 different models. And for example, you can run Claude, or you can run Llama, or you can run Mistral, or Stability, or Cohere, or whatever. They have their own model, Amazon Titan. I'm not sure about its quality. I simply don't know. Maybe it's good. But Claude, they have the latest Claude 3. This is no brainer. It's a great model. Okay, so you can use LLM, you can have front end, and you have semantic search. So these three pieces together, you can put the whole system from these Lego pieces. But there are other solutions. You can use PostgreSQL database, you can use Snowflake, you can use DynaDB, you can use Athena. Athena is just SQL on top of your S3 buckets. So you can query your CSV files or Parquet files as if they are external tables. And of course, in the middle, you can use some Python code. So you can use serverless Lambda functions if you want. And inside, you can use LangChain framework, which is open source. And you can use LangSmith, which also coming from LangChain. But, well, it's not completely open. Well, it's not open source, but this is for dealing with big systems. So it's a good thing. Okay, this is example of a simple Lambda function on. So you see how it has event and context. It does something and returns something back as JSON. Okay, so this is it. So these are some diagrams from Amazon website. This is actually, I copy pasted from this video, building generative AI agents with Amazon Bedrock, Amazon Lex, and LangChain. So pretty straightforward, pretty standard. Big companies love this architecture. Okay, using LLMs in biology, biochemistry, and medicine. Big area. The idea is that you can predict the shape of the molecule. So big, like Google DeepMind's AlphaFold is known for that. And there are diseases which are related to the fact that, let's say, the protein cannot take the shape because, so they called protein folding diseases. And so this is the list, like Parkinson, Alzheimer, whatever. It's quite complicated because there are many players. It's not just, there are chaperone molecules, or also protein, which they go from mitochondrial DNA. So it's a complex thing. And this is also another interesting thing, GNPT. So there is a, well, let's call it a database. There is a National Center for Biotechnology Information, and they have text descriptions. NCBI, it's National Center for Biotechnology Information. So they have text descriptions of genes. And if you have these text descriptions, then you can use LLM to predict things and to analyze things. Yeah, this is amazing area of research. Okay, advance RAG, improve RAG performance. This is a very good article, 7 failure points when engineering a retrieval augmented generation system. So you see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red failure points, and this article describes it. And this is a very good Medium article which goes in detail, which I highly recommend if you want to build a RAG system. Web research using LLM. Many people using LLM to search through thousands of articles, to do web scraping, and there are specialized tools. You can do simple Google search using Google API. You can use services like SERP, which is scrape search engine results pages, right? And it manages proxies, solves CAPTCHA, simulates searches, and provides you clean results in JSON. So a lot of what you would write in Python manually, now you can just use SERP AI for that. Devbot. So this is a startup, well, startup, 16 years in business. It's a small startup, but they specialize in doing web data extraction, and they have multiple APIs, and again, good thing maybe to use. MLX, I spoke about it multiple times. So we have MacBooks, we have Apple Silicon platform with M1, M2, M3, and MLX allows you to run LLMs and other Gen AI models natively, like on a hardware level. So MLX is a NumPy-like framework for machine learning on Apple Silicon. It has Python API and fully featured C++ API, and it's good. So just want to remind you about it and buy yourself a Mac. MLC LLM is a big project, very diverse, and I already spoke about it a couple times before. So this is on GitHub, it's open source, and the idea is to run models with high performance on all different platforms, different GPUs, different CPUs, different operating systems. So they provide very good coverage, and yeah, they use all kind of technologies. You will see JavaScript and Python and Rust and C++, but this is something to know that it's available and it's good. Okay, this is big. There was a demonstration. So this is a robot from Figure One startup, which is partially supported by OpenAI. And the person talks to the robot and asks it to do something, like to move things around on the table and explain what it's doing. And it's very convincing. Of course, the model is not inside the robot. The model is outside. It's actually OpenAI model, but it's really amazing. So you can ask the robot, put an apple in the pot, or put like dishes on the dryer here, and yeah, and it does the command, and it's real physical robot talking to you and doing the actions. Okay, RAG and embeddings. This is a very good article which explains how to build enterprise RAG system, and it goes into detail. It's pretty lengthy. I recommend this is a good reading. Okay, layoffs. So this is the latest from layoffs.fyi. So this is for tech companies, and again, as you see, comparing from previous year to this year, there is much less layoffs. Although there are some other areas, not technical, where layoffs are actually bigger from previous year. So there was a growth. Anyway, this is me, the speaker, and thank you.